So, if you know me, or have seen literally any previous videos on this channel, you could probably assume that I am an avid fan of the Legend of Zelda series. So you could say that I am an avid fan of the Legend of Zelda series. So if you think about it, you could say that I am an avid fan of the Legend of Zelda series. And a few days ago, during a Nintendo Direct for E3 2021, unexpectedly, for me it was unexpected, new footage for the sequel to Breath of the Wild, which is still unnamed as of now, was released and shown off. And as an avid fan of the Legend of Zelda series, let's just say it was good. I enjoyed it. Now, E3 thus far, I haven't really been keeping up with it because I have horrible taste and I only am into Nintendo. So really, the Nintendo Direct was the only part of E3 that I kind of exposed myself to. But even so, going into it, I knew not to expect much. The past year in gaming has been less than fruitful, and that's no one's fault but the pandemic and whatever. But that being said, my spirits were low. I went into the Direct expecting no content for the sequel of Breath of the Wild, because in the previous Direct we got nothing for it. We haven't heard from it in 2 years, so I was like, well, they're not gonna bring it up now. I was honestly expecting them to not even bring it up. And then, boom, there it is. It's the last part of the Direct. Breath of the Wild 2, new footage. God, okay. When I watched it live, I was like smiling the entire time, but I really failed to grasp the fact that we had new footage until like a few days later. Cause like, obviously I was like happy about it, but like I failed to realize like, wow, this is new footage. This game is still in production. This game is gonna be released at an aimed release year of 2022, which is next year, which is in 6 months. That's so cool. Anyway, so like, after the Direct aired, I sat down with a buddy of mine, shout out Hank, and we talked for an hour, going frame by frame of the new trailer, comparing it to the old trailer that was released 2 years ago. We started coming up with theories, and I'm gonna talk about some of them. I'm not gonna go too in depth though, because none of these theories are really that like substantial, I guess. I haven't really collected my thoughts that much, but on Twitter, a lot of people share this opinion, maybe? I don't know, this theory that there are a lot of parallels with this trailer and Skyward Sword, which I think is interesting considering that the port for Skyward Sword for the Nintendo Switch is going to come out in about a month. So maybe Skyward Sword is just fresh in our minds, and that's why we're thinking that, but if you look at the motifs in it, of, being related to the sky, Link falling, all that jazz, the cinematic parallels, very interesting. I personally see a connection with the game Twilight Princess, and I haven't really seen anyone else bring this up, but the technology that we see in Link's, arm, I forgot the word, the prosthetic arm, that's the word. It reminds me of the Twilight portals from Twilight Princess. That kind of green teal color against that dark background and that pattern that it does. And I know it's probably just the Sheikah pattern that we see in the Sheikah slate and the towers and all that stuff, but it looks very similar to the Twilight Princess portal pattern, so I don't know, that's something to think about. Another thing I wanted to bring up, Link is wearing green in the trailer. So Link is wearing green. He's wearing green. And I didn't realize this until I had said it out loud to my buddy while we were doing that frame by frame analysis. I was like, oh, he's wearing green. Oh, he's wearing green. Because Yeah, that's so interesting that they'd include that. Green is Link's signature color. It's the color of the hero. And in previous Breath of the Wild game, he didn't wear it. He wore blue. And I think that's very interesting. And I really do think that this game is going to tie in to the timeline into previous games. I really do think that. Because I really do feel like from what we've seen in the trailers, the game is going to focus on kind of going into the history of Hyrule and the legend, and and you can see Zelda and Link in the first trailer are like exploring these deep under the castle caverns, trying to uncover something, and I really do think and I hope that this game is going to explore going back to Hyrule's roots and the history and the lore behind it. Because from what has been revealed so far, Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2 are the most recent games chronologically in the timeline, and that they fall under all three branches of the timeline, which doesn't really make sense, but hopefully this will answer that somehow. I have no idea, and I'm very excited, and yeah, thank you. Those are my thoughts.